Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're doing well, having a fantastic day out there, wherever you may be. Let's go ahead and give a listen to the fourth movement of Symphony number 5 by Shostakovich. We're going to give a listen here, which was composed between April and July of 1937. We've listened to just a little bit from him. We're going to take a little bit more in and under our wing. We're listening to this because it was suggested and sponsored by Luosi. Luosi, thank you so much for the recommendation. Thank you so much for the support as well. Truly appreciate that as well. Can I tell you, we've been diving a little bit more fully into classical and classical adjacent music and just music in this specific sphere. And I've been listening to my classical playlist a lot recently. I've actually been listening mostly now to classical and jazz. That's actually been my personal listening, the past, I would say heavily, the past 2 to 3 weeks. That's just been my specific sphere. Just really enjoyed that. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into it. We're going to be listening to this as performed by Leonard Bernstein and the New York Philharmonic from 1959. Here we go. Great opening. What a start, or end. That's majestic. Only 3 minutes, man. What a change. What a change. expected. So note on top. It's coming back. Amazing. 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 Obviously, I don't have the other pieces to compare, the other movements, I should say, of the symphony to compare, but this was amazing. This felt like a finale. God, the percussion. This is a track that begins and ends on the top of two hills. And in the beginning, it is just hit after hit, percussion, brass, strings, in the most melodic, celebratory, fireworks going off in the sky to announce the return or the arrival of some king, some regent, some royal, some party. The crowds are lined up on the side, and the procession, or I should say the parade, begins, and it is just bombastic and cathartic. It feels so good. The playing there is out of this world. And then the music eventually comes down into a lull. And not like some minimalistic, very quiet in the grass kind of lull, but just a sort of an opportunity to reconstruct and to provide smaller moments of happiness. There's beautiful things that happen in the world that are big crowning achievements that are good for, all of humankind. But then there's those little moments in your family, outside when you go shopping and you have a good conversation with someone in the bread aisle. There's these little moments of happiness as well. And the lull here feels like those little moments. Then it builds itself so brilliantly back on up, sliding back into the final bombastic and satisfying movement there, or ending of the movement. That is just brilliant. And it's so heavy and hard-hitting, especially with the percussion. I mean, it shoots off like a cannon. And then the work finds itself in the subtlety as well in those small moments. Can I tell you two moments that stood out to me? One was around 3 minutes. Can I say also from the beginning, not having any knowledge of the music that came before and preceded this, that opening sounds like it may have a little bit of a darker underlying suspense to it. But it quickly assuages that. Come on, man. Can I tell you what that reminds me of? I've never seen the movie, so I can't tell you anything about it, but I have seen portions of this scene. I think. Let me see. If I'm thinking of the right scene, I just gotta find it really quick. I'm thinking. Yes. Okay. So like I said, never seen the movie, but let me get the music playing really quick. It's gonna play really quick. I gotta pull up the scene because this is what it reminds me of. Here, I've never seen this movie, but turn off the music. Like Cleopatra, her arrival. Doesn't it have that? Look at the grandeur of it all. Come on. I gotta stop the music. It has grandeur. It has like just, it's out of this world. I love how actionable it is. Fantastic. I think that's brilliant. But then around 3 minutes, that's when we first get our kind of come down. And it's like 3 minutes of intensity. And then we get a little switch here. That's plays. Listen to that. God. Slows it down. And it changes completely. And we get our first kind of dip into Serenity right there. That is so good. It starts us off on the highest of highs, and then it brings us down into the mood. And see what I mean? This is a lull, but it's not without action. It's not still. It's moving in so many wonderful ways. And the way that the strings play that particular section, it reminds me of like flying through the air. There's something flying and gliding, but with speed and precision in there. Then around 6 minutes, I noticed something else that was really nice. It was actually kind of perfect. Out of this, I want to say it was 6 minutes. This is kind of romantic as well, in its own way, in like a natural, like beautifying of the world kind of way. Should be coming up here shortly. There. That. You get a little bit of that before, but this idea of inserting these tense strings that just like look up from the bottom and look up, and there's an anticipation there. You can feel it like weeds coming through the concrete of the sidewalk. They're pushing through, and eventually, of course, they push through in the music and just takes it. And then there's several other instruments in here that kind of make a little bit, I shouldn't say a debut, but make an appearance in this particular movement. So you have, let's see. Was it glockenspiel? No, it wasn't glockenspiel. Xylophone. So I heard xylophone at one point playing in here. And then you also have, let's see if I can find what it is exactly, because I'm not sure exactly what it was. I'm looking through the instrumentation here to see if I can figure it out. Maybe it was the celesta? You heard two very unique sounds within this particular movement. I think that it was going to be the xylophone and the celesta. I could be wrong, but I don't think that I am. So looking at this, like I said, it was composed between April and July 1937. First performance in 1937. The premiere was a triumphal success that appealed to both the public and official critics, receiving an ovation that lasted well over half an hour. That's a world without cell phones. Looking at the movement that we listened to, also its sonata form differs greatly from its predecessors, mostly with regard to melodic structure and motives. Various themes from earlier in the work are expanded until we get to a new theme played on the trumpet. The new theme is passed on to the strings, and eventually the piece becomes quieter. The development section is much quieter, more tranquil, and is ultimately replaced by a march, where the melodies from earlier are played slowly, accompanied by timpani. Yeah, accompanied, that's for sure. The music builds as the new accompaniment passes from timpani to woodwinds, and then the strings, finally reaching a point where the piece changes from a minor key to a major, D major, to be specific. This was really, really awesome. The symphony quotes Shostakovich's song. I'm not going to try it. Most notably in the last movement, this song is a setting of a poem by Alexander Pushkin that deals with the matter of rebirth. This song is by some considered to be a vital clue to the interpretation and understanding of the whole symphony. In addition, commentators have noted that Shostakovich incorporated a motif from the habanera. That's a good one. Can I tell you? Side quest, habanera, Carmen. First heard it on the show Hey Arnold, on a 90s cartoon that millennials like myself will be familiar with. And I always loved it when I heard it in there, when it was parodied. The whole performance there was parodied in a particular episode there. And listen, can I tell you? Cartoons can sometimes make an impact. You know, I liked that piece for a long time. And if I think back to it, that was probably one of the first pieces of opera and performance that I really enjoyed, and perhaps even led to further exploration later on. First, a reference to Shostakovich's earlier infatuation with Elena Konstantinovskaya, who refused his offer of marriage. She subsequently moved to Spain and married the photographer and film director Roman Carmen. That's brilliant. The Fifth is one of his most played symphonies. I mean, judging by the ending, I can 100% see why. That would go very well with some fireworks. I bet you there's somewhere that plays this and times the ending with New Year's, because that would be brilliant. Let me know what you guys thought, of course, in the comments down below. I appreciate you all being here and listening and hopefully enjoying alongside with me. Lucy, thank you so much for the suggestion and the request as well. I appreciate that. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Slide on back here again tomorrow, and I will see you all then. Bye, guys.